Let's go to our Week 4 most likely underdog outright winners in college football. And I've got quite a few of them. We're not going to call this a round robin. We're going to change this up a little bit. But this is what I've got for this week. So looking at wrong teams favored, all that kind of stuff, I've got multiple games. We'll start off with the ones that I don't feel as strongly about. SMU over TCU. So let's get down here and let's see where we are. 5 Factors has got TCU actually favored in this spot. 55% chance to win that game outright. The implied odds are 59% on that. So, little questionable there. But as far as stats go, the stats would have SMU favored in that spot. Utah and Oklahoma State, I don't even know which direction to go with that. Oklahoma State as an underdog covers and wins outright a lot. So it is what it is there. Rutgers and Virginia Tech. So that one is fairly interesting. And we're going to try and find it on the screen here. But, yeah, Rutgers and Virginia Tech is tricky. I guess it might not be on our screen. I don't know where to find that thing. But we'll do a search for it. I kind of believe in... I guess maybe the odds must have pulled that for some reason. Regardless, Rutgers is a 3.5-point dog. It's kind of sat there all week. The stats would have it Rutgers being favored in that game pretty significantly, but I kind of believe in Virginia Tech, so I'm not tossing it on as one of my favorites. Southern Miss and Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State can't stop anybody. Southern Miss has actually been pretty good. Tate Rodemaker, obviously their defense just got blitzed last week, but I mean, you start looking at Southern Miss, and, all of a sudden, this team is not... So here we go, 35.7% implied probability, and Jacksonville State is a 68% implied probability, but I've got it 52.64% Southern Miss, 47.36% Jacksonville State. So that's something to pay attention to. Virginia at Coastal Carolina. That one is interesting, if for no other reason than all of my numbers have Coastal as the better team. I've got Coastal with a 58% or almost 59% win probability. And looks like the implied probability here is 41.67% on that one. So pretty large there. Baylor in Colorado. I mean, this is like a 1-point spread, so it is what it is. But I've got Baylor at 52.04% win probability, and the implied odds are 49%. So that is the way that goes. Cal and FSU. So Florida State's favored by 2.5. There's not a single number out there that would tell you that they should be a 2.5-point favorite. As a matter of fact, when it comes to the 5 Factors plus talent ranking, Florida State only has a 25.86% chance to win the game, but their implied odds are 57%. So Cal, as an underdog, 47% implied, 74% win probability according to my numbers. All right, moving along. Here's the ones that I feel the best about. And this is kind of ridiculous, but BYU at home, Saturday night, Provo, like that's a spot that you don't want to get involved with. BYU has got, Corby was talking about their top 2 running backs are down. That's not ideal. They're going to have to throw it a lot. I think that could work to their favor against against Kansas State, because I don't think the Kansas State secondary is great. But you got to trust that BYU offensive line to keep edge rushers out of the backfield. So that one's going to be interesting. But as far as the numbers go, implied win probability for BYU, 34.48%. My numbers have it at 43%. So it's not great. It's not over 50%, but it's, it is what it is. Kansas and West Virginia. So this one is tricky because it's been sitting 2.5, and then it finally started moving once when some of the bigger money guys got in. The implied probability for Kansas is about 48.5%. I've got them at 55.65% up here. So that's interesting. So, yeah, I would kind of like Kansas to win outright there. Iowa at Minnesota. A lot of people on Iowa here, and obviously Kirk Ferentz knows how to beat Minnesota. He knows how to coach against PJ Fleck teams. But when you look at the numbers, how interesting. I could have sworn it was on here. I updated these. I got them to pull last night, and I think that it didn't pull some of the games. Some of these games must have been off the sheet. How strange. This makes for great podcasting. All right, so Minnesota. Here, let's see. Minnesota at home against Iowa. We'll just pull up the sheet. You can only see half of it, but all right, so Minnesota favored by 3.86, and my power rating has on Minnesota -2. So, yeah, at home, that matters. The stats matter. Interesting. 5 factors. 5 factors plus talent has Minnesota number 49, Iowa number 43, but home field certainly matters. All right, let's go back to this. I cannot believe. There we go. All right, so I've got it on here. So I've got Minnesota as a 48% implied probability and 50.05% is their win probability for me. Let's do 2 more, shall we? Good gracious. This has turned into a disaster. But hopefully you guys will forgive me. Okay, Mississippi State and Florida. Does anybody trust Florida? I mean, I know that you can't really trust Mississippi State right now, but good gracious. There we go. All right, up here at the top. Florida, implied win probability is almost 70%, 68.75%. I have them at a 51.42% win probability based on the 5 factors plus talent. Mississippi State implied wins 35.71%. I have them at 48.58%. Just throwing it out there. Mississippi State, you can get them at plus 195. Minnesota is plus 115. Kansas plus 110. BYU is plus 200. Those are the best numbers you can find on those right now. And the last one, Louisiana at home against Tulane. And that one is a 3-point spread. Actually, it's a 2.5 now. Yeah, 2.5 right now. But the best number that you can get on it is plus 120 in favor of Louisiana. Louisiana's implied win probability is 45.87%. I have them at 61.25% at home based on the 5 factors plus talent. So, and that's all weighted based on opponent, etc. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Tulane, not the most successful team, not the biggest success rate team, but they can hit some explosives. Freshman quarterback on the road. There's certainly questions there when it comes to that. Thanks for listening to Winning Cures Everything. Make sure and follow me on Twitter at GaryWCE. If you want to toss in a question, you can email me Gary@winningcureseverything.com. Make sure and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.